Bridget Mendes with the Kerri Shull real estate team, and I'm one of the new construction specialists at Optime Realty.
Hi there, my name is Chat Hackmann with Alair Homes. I own and operate Alair Homes here in Arlington and live here in Arlington and work here in Arlington, the surrounding DC metro area.
A big question everyone asks me is, what's the price per square foot? I want to build a 5,000 square foot house, for example, and I want to know how much it's going to cost me to construct that home. Chad, when people come to you with that question, how do you answer that in terms of?
We love that question. And we say that facetiously because the question is very difficult. Everyone has a certain idea in their head of what they want to build,
yeah.
what they think it should cost. And they have a certain idea of what that layout of that house is. We have one of the nice examples that I used in the past is I built two houses right next door to each other. One, they're both 5,000 square feet or so. One was a couple $100,000 more to construct than the other. And as you look at it on face value, you think, well, they look very similar. But as you get into it, you realize that one house only really had 3 doors and it had a moderate window package. The other house had 9 doors because they had patios and decks and things like that off the house. Right. Also, the one house is more of a more traditional craftsman style house, so they just had siding, hardy plank siding throughout. The other house was a more contemporary house, so it had more stone and a little bit of stucco and a little bit of siding. All those things influenced the cost. And then back to windows again, some were bigger windows and smaller windows and different shaped windows, so that also added to the complexity of it. The cheapest house to build is a very rectangular box, and it's very symmetrical from the basement, the first floor to the second floor. If it's 5,000 square feet or so, it's 1,000 some odd square feet per floor, and that's easy to do. We run into folks that say, I only want a 3,000 square foot house, and a lot of times when we talk to realtors and they think about their assessments and stuff, that's all above ground square footage. That doesn't include the foundation. The foundation is necessary whether it's a basement, a crawl space, or a slab. It costs something and it influences the cost of those houses, and all those things matter.
And so would you say it's reasonable to assume that the price per square foot that we're talking about is really customized to each individual person and what they are looking to build and what kind of finishes that they want?
Absolutely. I think that there is, just like I ask people to find their plat for me for the land they're interested in, I ask them just to pull a couple pictures or take a couple pictures around the neighborhood, around online. There's great sites that have all kinds of different home plans where you can pull a house and that house is an easy representation that we can talk about and what influences the cost of that house. I had somebody once who told me they wanted a very simple 3,000 square foot house, but this very simple 3,000 square foot house had like a castle round turret on it. So it's, those things make it much more complicated, but that's something they weren't thinking. They were just searching 3,000 square foot house plans online or 5,000 square foot house plans online. The other thing to think about when you're thinking about cost per square foot is there's a lot of folks that are downsizing this neighborhood. They don't need that 5,000, 6,000 square foot typically Arlington house. It's going to cost more per square foot to build the smaller house because the smaller house still has that kitchen, has that bathroom, has that expensive space that is involved in all those other houses. They just don't have the benefits of those open spaces, the bigger living rooms and the bigger other common areas. So that means their cost per square foot, if you go that way, is going to be a little bit higher for a 2,000 or 3,000 square foot structure as opposed to a 5 or 6.
Right, and we typically recommend when someone's saying, I want a smaller footprint of a home, to think about what you want to give up in that smaller footprint. Because most of the time they're coming and walking through 5,000 or 6,000 square foot homes and saying, this is too big, this is too big. But when you really think about what do you want to give up, that big open kitchen, family room area, an office, all of those things, that's part of that footprint that you're building and part of that foundation, right, John?
Absolutely. So it all matters and it all works into the equation. You're not going to go wrong to build what's a comfortable size for the lot in the town that you're living in. I think you see that too.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much for joining us today. If you're thinking about building custom new construction here in the DC metro area, please click on the link below to set up a time to sit down with me one-on-one so I can walk you through the process from start to finish.